This is To Catch a Con Man, Season 2, In the Victim's Voices. I will take you on another fascinating journey, but this time you will hear from other men and women that, like me, have fallen prey to the various cons, scams, and deceits by one of the most prolific and successful con artists to live and operate in the Midwest. You know him as Ricky Dugo.
Could $100,000 sustain my life? It couldn't even come close. So listen to me. If I was going to be in some sort of con, scam, conniving thing, it'd be for millions. It wouldn't be for $100,000.
To Catch a Con Man is brought to you by Studio 847 in Long Grove, Illinois. Listener discretion is advised, as some of this programming contains language and content that might be offensive to some listeners.
Join me on this adventure to catch a con man. This is Adam Albin. Thank you for listening to Season 2 of To Catch a Con Man, In the Victim's Voices. On the previous episode, we met Anna Marie, one of many of Ricky Dugo's prior girlfriends that he successfully scammed for over $25,000. The riveting details took us back to the late 1990s. Up next, I will take you back to the mid-2000s, around 2005-ish, and we will hear from a victim whom, unbeknownst to him, was one of my driving forces and reasons I decided to embark on this journey to catch a con man. This is part 1 of his story. Let's listen in and see what Ron has to say. You may hear me cut a few parts of this conversation out, as an allegation that is so shocking and severe is detailed out that I needed to refer this information back to law enforcement, as this is the second time this same allegation has been made by 2 separate financial crime victims that were very close to Ricky Dugo in the early to mid-2000s. I simply can't talk about it on this podcast, as it goes above and beyond the story of just being a career con man and scammer. Ron, can you tell me, how you met Ricky Dugo? Where were you? The year? How were you introduced to him?
Yeah. So, I guess it was about 50, I don't know the exact year. I want to say I was in my 20s. So, 15 years ago, ish, maybe a little more. And I was previously dealing with some business that was kind of failing, and I was really in a position where I was reaching for something. I was at that age, working out constantly, just haven't fully found myself. Was dabbling in, I always want to be self-employed. That was the big dream, and I was a part of a business. Good. And then Rick came in through somebody else and Now this is a self-employed business that's starting to fail. Rick came in and like was at that moment the hero. Like, oh man, dude pulls up Corvette, super nice, fellow Christian, Rolex, blah blah blah. You know the spiel, and like in my head, you know, I didn't have a good mentor. I guess I was searching for a mentor, searching for my position in life. I was doing good, you know, but I didn't have like my lifelong pursuit. I didn't really find that yet. So there's some vulnerability looking back at it, because mentor me, and what I was doing wasn't really working. And then I got this, what do I even call him? I had to think about that one. What would make him good? But, you know, this con artist manipulating who he is with that cheap skin, you know, the wolf underneath, basically recognizing I'm vulnerable and saying, oh, here, you know, I can help you, and here's how I can help you. And look, you know, I'm not looking at later on I learned to look at the fruits of someone's life, like look at their relationships, their parents, the people they love the most. Are they married? You know, identifying the person through that. Well, I was young and I identified him through Corvettes, Rolexes, and then like the joy in Christian love and like the excitement that he gave off. So that's how I met him. I was in a vulnerable position, searching for something, and looking for a mentor, and there Rick was.
So, and can you just, what kind of business was that in, the failing business? Are you able to speak about that?
Yeah, it was in the bar industry.
It was in the bar industry.
Right. And you know, it wasn't doing well. I actually had some partners in it that weren't doing the right things. They were cutting themselves checks. They weren't doing there's a few things, like the business was not under proper ownership. I was a part of that ownership, not happy with it. And then Rick came in, knew personally one of the other owners, and they came. I don't even know what they were doing there, but you know, there was obviously some friction on how everything was being ran, and you know, instability with the business. And then, you know, there appears Rick, like there to kind of console and to give me another opportunity, you know, make a big bank with the car wash and living a great life.
Yeah, so let's talk a little about that. So he comes in, he's driving a Corvette, he's wearing a Rolex, he's giving off this facade that he's, you know, well-to-do, and he's got that, you know, that personality that just, you know, has people enamored. You know, how long does he wait to pitch you? You know, are you guys like becoming friends first? Are you going out with him? Are you like his boy? Are you his sidekick? I mean, tell me about like some of the relationship.
Well, in the beginning, it was more like business consulting. Like, hey, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I think I got to get out. And then, you know, of course, he's, you know, posturing himself like he's a good person and has a lot of business, a lot of success, and living a great life. So, you know, I'm in the fog of dealing with a business that's kind of falling apart. And then, you know, that's like Rick almost becomes the backup plan. Like, oh, he's a cool dude. I don't know if I hung out with him. Obviously, I hung out with him eventually, but, you know, presented some opportunities. And, you know, again, I'm looking for an opportunity. I'm looking for mentorship. I'm a young 20-year-old, you know, 22-year-old, whatever I was, 22, 23. I'm young in the mind. You know, I didn't have a good role. I didn't have a male figure that I could look up to that would kind of, you know, I don't know, I say I needed help, but I needed some guidance in life. I wasn't super close with my dad. I had a mother that loved me dearly, and you know, I don't have any brothers. You know, didn't have any good male role models in a sense that was like really looking out for me. So I'm looking for that mentor. You know. Yeah, that mentor.
That mentor's going to help guide you, right? You're looking for guidance. Is what I'm hearing.
Right. And opportunity, guidance, opportunity, and because you know I'm in a position where I don't feel stable. I'm bouncing to this, I'm bouncing to that, and I don't really have my groove. And then I have someone that presents himself in like amazed, like my mind's blown by how cool and how friendly and everything else. And then, you know, I think he gets my number, and then like we talk, and it doesn't happen over, but then we hang out. So there's like a slow progression of him building this facade and relationship. How long did that take? I don't know, maybe a month or two, and then it was like, okay, I'm walking away from this business because I have something that's greater with this guy that is going to be there for me and help me get to where I want to be. He's where I want, in my head, he was where I wanted to be and where I was at. Now, I was doing okay. I wasn't, I had money, I had properties, I had, cars, but, I'm trying to take it to the next level in a sense.
Sure. So you're hanging out for like a month or two.
Something like that. Yeah.
And
in that time, sorry to interrupt, Jaden, but during that month, I'm going to church with him. I'm going to his car washes, realizing now they weren't even his. He's walking in the back, looking back. And honestly, Adam, looking back at it, it was, I like shake my head. Like, what was I thinking? The fog of me wanting something. I had no judge. I wasn't able to judge and look. And, at that time, I didn't realize that there's people out there that truly don't give a shit. They will step on you and do whatever they need to get what they want with, like, Asperger's, like no empathy or care for who you are or your family or what you're just, it does not, like crocodile style. Like they're waiting for their moment to prance. So there's a lot of rapport building during this month or two. There's going out and, going on at some, I've never been on a boat. I'm on some big cigarette boat. I'm driving in these Mercedes that I've never been into, Rolexes, like the whole 9 yards. I'm like, oh man, I'm blessed finding this dude, going to church with them. Like, all right, I finally got that male figure that, that I'm looking for, in a sense. And I was into bodybuilding and weightlifting and all things dudes are. I know you mentioned this is going to go on men's health and fitness, and I think not everybody, but a lot of the younger guys in that realm, they got energy, they got passion, they can be consistent, and they're just looking for something else to do. They don't have anything to do per se, not all the time, not all the dudes in the gym, but they don't have, so what do? They hit the weights and they put their energy there until they find what they can put their energy into. So, that was another link. It was Christianity, business, and then weightlifting, because I was into that too. So there's a lot of like common grounds that nice watches, everything that most dudes want. Rick had, or supposedly had.
Sure.
So that's so looking back now, if I had better wisdom back then, I was flogged in my head for what I wanted. Not I didn't realize that how people can be, that there's really evil out there, like truly is. And then there's good. Most people are genuinely good, but dude, there's some bad people out there, and there's those. And that's who he is. He's just an evil being, in general.
Yeah, for sure. He's a complete sociopath. So,
total.
So let's go back. All right. So tell me about the con. Tell me about what he pitches. Tell me about his opportunity that he wants you to go in on, so that he can make you get to that next level.
Yeah, it started. He's got a lot of pitches, and again, this is 15 to 20 years ago. So I'm recalling all this. I'm thinking, so the pitch, the first pitch, the big one is the car wash. I don't remember the names of it, but he took me to his car washes. He never had them, but he's walking in back, shaking hands like he did. And I, being young and also wanting it so bad, maybe didn't take a step back, take a breath, and, does it, usually if it's too good to be true, it is, right? So this was one of those scenarios, and, I just ate it up. I ate up he wrote he's looking for money for his next car wash. He's good. He's got all the money in the world, but, he's looking to help somebody out too. And he's buying a new car wash. He's got however many he pitched he had. And he was looking for someone to be, in a sense, a managing partner, running that car wash and helping him out with his business and backing him up. And the car wash isn't going to be open yet, but he'll need backup with some of his other things that he does. So the original pitch was a car wash pitch. And what, besides me taking me, there were some other supporting things that he said or did or showed me that made me really believe, yeah, this dude knows his car wash stuff, and this is his niche, and I could get into it with him. That was the original one. Yeah.
So what was that? So what was the supporting documentation, or what was he giving you outside of taking you to somebody else's car wash and walking you in the back where he, is high-fiving the employees, because he probably shipped them all $20, to make him seem like he's the king of rock and roll.
As far as supporting docs, more about, I guess I meant the contract that he wrote. That was when I was more investing, but just his talk. I mean, he pitched it and ran it like he ran car washes, multiple, and he knew a lot. He knew from the surface about the industry, and he had a good story, and then he had all this supposed wealth backing it up. So for me, it was a slam dunk. He's that's what he does. He has a lot of passive income through multiple car washes. He drove me by a bunch of them, went into a couple with me. As far as documentation, maybe I misspoke that. Maybe it's I had documentation with a handwritten contract, but your contract's as good as the person or their words.
Yeah. So what does this contract say?
Just a handwritten Ricky Dugo or Schultz, whatever his name was at that time. Invests. I invest. I don't know what it was in the beginning. He drained me and my mother for pretty much everything we had. But I think the first initial investment was maybe $32,000 or something like that. $32,000. $32,000. And I was going to have, and then I was going to have ownership in it, and run it and do good with them, and more doors would open, and whatever. A con man will give the vulnerable person anything that they can hear that they're biting on, and I was in a position where I was biting on everything. I didn't second guess it too, because I was shutting one door and I was going all in on this.
Right.
Simply, and yeah.
So he takes you. So the contract is a car wash, or a partnership and a car wash for $32,000 in cash. And then what happens? I mean, is he building a car wash? Is he telling you that it's being built somewhere? Does he show you a piece of an empty lot? Is he asking you for?
Yeah. He's showing me signage. He's having me go look at this sign. He's showing me where it's going to be. He's and there was multiple car washes too. And the exact time, I know there was, I don't even remember the names of them, but he was having me design stuff. And you asked me, so you said that. And then during this process, what he was good at was keeping me on the hook, because during that process, now I'm getting things and he's buying things for me, realizing now he was taking my money and just circulating it, so, I invested, it's not going to be open for a little bit, but at the same time, he's treating for dinners, I upgrade my car, I'm getting new wardrobe, things like that are happening, and he's paying for it, but, me being gullible, not realizing he's taking my money and just kind of recycling it back to me.
Yeah, and then that's making you feel good. Like this guy that you're looking up to, this mentor, is the real deal. He's hooking me up. He's my boy. He's got my back. He had an accountant call me, which wasn't an accountant. Got my social security number, date of birth. Hey, I'm going to put you on the payroll soon. For now, though, we're going to, you'll just hang out with me. I'll take care of things. I got this money now. We're going to start this car wash soon. The details on when and how, I don't really remember, but I do remember then, I'm hanging out with him and I'm getting, the accountant calls me, I give him all the information. Payroll's not going to be ready yet, but I'm just going to put you on my payroll before the car wash is going to take a minute to open. Meanwhile, I'll get you on the payroll because I know you're leaving your other business, and, that'll happen too. So, there's that, the camaraderie that I'm starting to build, like I said, going to church with this kid and your dude, or whatever you want to call it, Rick, going to, just, he's got me hooked. I'm hooked, and I'm enjoying it. I'm get a new car, showing it to some of my friends, my girlfriends, and things like that. I'm in a celebratory mood, and, that makes me even more vulnerable, I guess. So it was he had
ecosystem of like different victims at different stages of their con, and he somehow was able to orchestrate it all quite nicely.
Yeah.
Where, for me, I didn't even know, by the time I realized what was going on, it was way too far into it. I couldn't like back away. I had to which is we'll go down that road, but
let's go back to that.
I'm high fives. I'm celebrating. I'm getting my mom excited for her. Like we're doing good now. I finally found the way and the right dude to kind of help shape me into what I want to be.
Right. Awesome. So, I mean, not awesome that it happened, but I appreciate you, like telling me. So from there, he's got you on the hook for $32,000. What's his next pitch? What's his next play? What's his next call?
So, there's another car wash coming up. And I know we didn't open up this one, but he's got another one coming up. And we don't have to do it, but he wants to give me first dibs on it. And at this time, I'm like, hell yeah. So I think for that one, I get my mom involved because I'm, now I soaked up most of my cash with that initial investment. I want to be in on the second one, and it's kind of like, I don't have to be, but like why wouldn't I? Like, why would I take two now? So I get my mom involved on this one, and she gets the money, refinances her home to pull money out, and now I get that next chunk. Honestly, I can't even remember what it was, but it was another big chunk of money. You're talking $40,000 or so coming out, at least. I don't remember the exact month. And so this one was another car wash, and this one though he's buying. It's one of them we needed to start. The other it was a buyout. He's buying a competitor or something. And again, I don't remember the name. I do remember the name Snappy's Car Wash. He used that one a lot. And there's other names that I just, it's a fog. It's the fog of war in that moment. But yeah, so now we're going to get one started. I'm looking at signage. I'm developing flyers, coming up with names. He's, giving me some legwork to do. And now there's one of his competitors we're going to buy out. We're going to buy it. So then there's, another good chunk of cash that I'm getting to him. And then the whole cash thing, looking back at it, it's like, duh. But, Rick's thing was he has so much wealth and it's a cash business that he needs to hide that. And his accountant does not want any more coming in or he's all tied. So he works only with cash because of that. Because his books are, it's a cash bit, blah, blah, blah. Which made sense to me, and how are you going to argue with someone that's just freaking taking you out to the nicest restaurants around, cruising in the Benz, dropping money everywhere, and then riding on some big, $500,000 boat, and I'm not paying for anything, and then the people around him are like, oh yeah, he's the real deal. So there's other victims saying it because they believe it, which I was getting, and then there's the people that know he's a scumbag who are like supporting it, like. But they know he's scumball, So
yeah, I firmly believe that he has many accomplices out there. I don't know how he gets them or what he does to ask for their help, but there's definitely more than a couple of those. So
yeah, he's not the only bad guy out there, but he's really good at being a bad person.
One of the best. One of the best, man.
He wouldn't be able to pull anything on me now, and hopefully all the victims have scarred up and healed and have learned from it, got some wisdom and understanding. It also clouds you, not to jump ahead, but I don't look at anybody the same way. The scars have healed, but the damages and the you're never going to get this money back, which is a significant amount of money. And then when you go through, you get the PS post-traumatic stress. That's real. Like I don't want to, I'm in an industry where I meet a lot of people and I know a lot of people and I impact a lot of people at a big level. But outside of that, I'm almost socially awkward. I'm so introverted. Unless I'm in where I feel good, then I'm able to, and I really know. But outside of that, unless you're in my realm, outside of what I do, I don't want to meet you. I don't want to talk to you. It's like he numbed my love for humans unless it's in my area. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody, you know, I went from like trusting everybody. There's no bad love, live, you know, because I'm the type of person, I would never do anything to anybody to hurt them, you know, like maliciously. You know, I wouldn't do it on purpose, you know. And when you have that mindset and that kind of love, you almost think everybody's like that. No way, you know, anybody can be like that. But, yeah, sorry I went on a little rant there.
No, I absolutely love it, Ron, because I talk about that as very often in the podcast in season 1, in that there's a psychological, emotional, and mental toll that he puts you on and puts you through that is almost more impactful than losing the money, because it changes your outlook on life. The money we can always make more of. I mean, big fucking deal. I mean, to some, it is a big deal. I get it. But but when you start to have to, when you change and all of a sudden the world looks different and not the same, and it changes who you are inside, that's the Dugo effect, man. That is, people don't talk about it, and it's everywhere. I mean, it really is, because you just don't want to trust anybody. So we will, we will come back to that. So, all right. So he's got you for 2 car washes. Let's just say, from what you said, about we'll call it $75,000, $72,000 at this point. And did your mother ever meet him face to face? Did they ever get to meet in person?
Yeah, we're going to eat. I mean, we're going to church. I mean, he's family now, man. This is my big brother that I've been looking for. So, like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm introducing him to everybody I can because he's the man. You know, this is my ticket. This is the dude. So yeah, I mean, he's fully a part of my life. I'm fully a part of his. From what I thought, you know, and yeah, my mom's involved. I mean, we're in the financial end of it. I want to say the second one might have been more money, but you know, but I you know, again, it's been a long time. But yeah, I would say we're at 75-ish. You know, yeah. So yeah, my mom knows, you know, him on a personal level. You know, we're going out to great dinners, and yeah, we all know. Well, everybody knows each other, and we're all great. I'm grateful,
right?
Very grateful and excited.
Now, did you ever meet? At the time, did Rick ever say that he was married?
Yeah, those are, you know, look, these are one of the red flags again, right here. You know, you got a guy that changes his last name. You know, that's right. A red flag. And then like his womanizing. See, I was a womanizer too at that stage of my life. So, like, that was common for me. I mean, I think he had a few girls, and he was serious with a couple of the few that he had, and then serious as far as, like, that's his girl. And he got engaged to a girl. He had a couple side girls, and then he's also picking up a high school girl in his Mercedes.
Yeah.
During that process too, a girl and a 17-year-old in high school. Looking back at it now, it really irks me. But you know, again, crocodiles don't feel emotional, you know, sympathy, empathy, care. You know, it's just a, you know, narcissistic, you know, sociopath that can't, you know, like that. Asperger's, like, you can't feel other people's emotions. It's about the world. It's me, you know. And there's a young girl, and you know, I gotta play. He met this girl at you know, once he got the money that he wanted from me and realized none's coming, then he went after the credit. You know, so that was the next phase of how he's gonna extract more out of my life and my mom's life too. You know. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So you said, and I'm gonna repeat it because it may have cut out. So you said after you guys have given him most of the cash, your mom's refinanced her house. You've given him almost all the cash you had. The accountant basically took all of your information, if I heard you right. He's got your social security number, your driver's license number. He's got your address. So now Rick is opening lines of credit up in your name.
Yeah, but that starts with he's an avid watch collector. So it starts with the Rolexes. And I love watches too, and I have a Rolex as well at the time. So we go to the Rolex, CD Peacock.
Yep.
And then, he does the old accountant trick. And then I have perfect credit. So then he's at his limit with his accountant. Hey, I'm not even going to wear these watches. I just collect them. Can I use your credit? Well, yeah, of course, brother. We're in business together. You doing everything? I don't care. Use my credit. So it starts with the Rolexes, and, now I obviously realize he was just selling them, getting more cash, then taking that cash and taking me out to eat with it, and then doing whatever he does with the other stuff. And then now at this time, I'm with him a lot now. Like, after that second load, I'm basically staying majority. I lived an hour away. I'm staying the majority at his place. I'm hanging out with him 24/7, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, he's my new best friend, mentor, and, I'm living the life almost. I got, in the beginning, I'm living the life, going out every night. I'm weightlifting every day. I got fun dudes to be around and great experiences with, materialism and, at the time, the womenizing and all the things that would go down, with us. And so, yeah. So then for some Rolexes, whatever, this guy bends over backwards for me. I'm in no rush with I'm asking questions and, hey, what can I do? Is there anything I need to do? And, when I ask the questions, it's like, oh, yeah, here, come on. And he figures a way to make me feel good about it, whether it's taking back up to the car wash or, hey, I got these signs, let's meet with this guy, or, whatever it is, another phone call with the accountant. He just had, he's good at it. He's good at it. Once you're on there and you're feeling good, he's going to make you feel better, as he continues to gets what he wants.
I think he takes great pleasure in keeping people on the hook. Because there are many victims out there that 3 years after he took their money, he's still calling and still texting, like, hey, what's up? Like he's their best friend. Like nothing fucking happened. So You're right. He's really good at keeping people on the hook, backing you off the ledge. So now he's taking out lines of credit. At this point, I mean, do you know what he's doing with the Rolexes? Because another gentleman I've spoken to, he said that he used to be like a runner for him. And so Rick would get these Rolexes, and he probably did this in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 different, victims. CD Peacock, he would take you to CD Peacock. He would have you buy a Rolex or two. And then he had this guy that would take him to this gentleman in the city named Howard Fromm, and he would pawn them there for cash. Did that ever come up?
Yeah. He was there before, he with me, and because he did something with a diamond ring with one of his fiancées, and I think he was selling it back, and he probably had a Rolex that he was selling, looking at it. So I went there with Howard once before. What stage was it during the con? I'm not sure, but I remember being in there with Rick. For me, it helped me stay. It hurt me, but I stuck around longer. We were doing some pretty stupid things, led me on to some pretty strong drugs, and towards the end there, I was pretty aggressive on these drugs, and so that was also at the end when I'm on the outs of this thing, that also, besides not to go to the end here, but besides all the leverage he has with this wealth, and then on top of that, I'm kind of getting really attached to some strong drugs, and now it's like that made it difficult for me to make a move or make a decision on how to peel this Band-Aid off and figure out what the heck I'm going to do with my life. At that season, but that's later on in the game too.
Yeah.
This whole thing, 6 to 8 months ish, where I'm side by side with Rick. I'd say the first half, everything's high-fiving and great. The next little and then the last whatever math is left is, oh crap, I just made a big mistake here and drug my mom into it. What am I going to do now? Kind of deal. The drugs there, that last half of the timeline dragged on way longer than it should have.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to ask you a weird question. Did you ever visually witness Rick get punched in the face by a woman?
I don't think so. No.
You never called the cops on a woman that had punched him in the nose and it his nose was gushing blood? We can come back to this.
So.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah. Again, Adam. This is a long time ago, and at this, I'm feeling good. I'm drugged up pretty good, you know. So this is all the drugs I've done. I've smoked some weed and drank. And that's what I did. And I started smoking crack. I don't know if you smoked any crack before.
No.
But it'll fog your judgment.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the most important thing around. And that happened that last 20% of, that's what was going down with consistently. Because at that time, I quote unquote bought Rick's home, which was, and I was living there. So, and I did buy his home. I bought it from him, so that was like one of the last phases of things. So I'm living at this home. It's my home. I'm out of title. I got the mortgage. And we're just smoking crack, 4 nights a week.
So let's go back and talk about that. So is that the last part of the con? He had you buy his house from him?
Yeah, I think one of the last parts. The last parts were bigger items that were like with me and my mom on credit. And this is when I'm like starting to question things. But it's also at that point, well, fuck it, I'm all in here. Okay, so use my credit. Well, if this is true, and like part of me still doesn't want to believe that this is actually a con once I'm realizing it, but part of me's like, no way. And so now we're buying homes and boats, and I bought his house from him. And looking back at it, I realized I think the house was in his mother's name, and he just needed a way out of it. Everything that he did too, he managed, this was prior to the big crash, so he managed to pull money out of everything. I don't know if he did it with the cars or not, but I know for sure the houses, and he had other homes too, and looking back at it, there were other victims that were, signing mortgages or titles to houses and cars and boats, and, that the house, the boat, and all the cars that he had when he met me, none of them were in his name. They were in prior victims.
Right.
So whoever the victim was on the house, I want to say it was his mother. He was draining her at the same time. He was able to transfer title because he moved into a big house that was built and bought on someone's name as well. So I was able to buy that house so I could be closer to him and, be there for him. At this point, too, since the car washes aren't open, I'm acting like his personal assistant, which I'm loving because, I'm living the life while I'm doing it.
Sure. So how much did you buy his house for?
I have no clue. Over market value, I'm sure, because he pulled money out of it, I'm sure. But I don't remember the number. I mean, $200,000-$300,000. I mean, it was a ranch. I don't remember what houses were back then, and where was it? Oh God, Addison.
Addison, yeah.
I don't know what it was. A house on Addison, and I bought a ranch, all brick.
Yeah.
So I don't know I have no clue what I paid for it, but I'm sure I didn't get a good deal. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're buying houses. Is there any other cons that happen over? I mean, he's got you guys for $300,000-$400,000.
Hundreds, yes.
How much?
Hundreds of thousands, because we're, my mom signed off on a boat. So that's, I don't know, 400, whatever that cigarette boat was. He had multiple boats. motorcycles, Rolexes, and cars.
And a house.
And a house, yes. Then I live,
All right.
one of the cars I'm driving too, Lexus I'm driving, the house I'm living in, and then I already had a Rolex, but I had he gave me some diamond watch, so I'm wearing that too, and then new wardrobe, and then out to eat all the, we're out and about all the time. Rich dropping cash everywhere, so yeah.
All in.
Houses, boats.
Yeah.
House, and then a big cash. All the cash that I could possibly have, as well as, my mom's pulling she has a paid off townhouse. She's pulling money out of that to invest, and then using her credit as well to back Rick up.
So all in, Ron, what would you say? Give me a number that, like, if you had to guess.
Yeah, if I had to get, now are we talking, including my credit?
Everything. All in.
Credit?
Everything.
Oh, jeez. Between me and my mom, because we're a unit, obviously my mother. So let's go with a $300,000 house, say. Let's go with, we're going to say $100K cash. It might be less than that. It might be a little more. I'd have to really. So that's, and then say the $300,000 boat-ish. I don't remember per se. It might be 200, might be 180, might be 400, but these aren't normal boats here that we're talking. What he's driving in, and then a couple motorcycles and a few cars. So, and these are Mercedes, Range Rover, Lexus style cars. So, $100,000 each car. 1, 2, 3. Say, $50,000 worth of motorcycles and Rolexes, I believe. So $300 for the house. We're talking like $1 million, dude. Not with credit and cash that he grabbed just from me and my mom, because these are big items here we're talking.
It's unbelievable. I'm so sorry that it happened to you.
It's crazy. It's disgusting. And I'm sorry too. Sorry, I was such an idiot, to be honest. I'm so gullible and naive, and yeah.
So
it was my fault. It was my fault.
You just listened to part 1 of Ron's search for a mentor and a business partner. The slow progression of Ricky Dugo forging a friendship that can only end up one way. Ron starts to realize there are some really unsavory types as Rick's investments opportunities finally break down. Coming up next, we will hear him continue on with his tale, finally coming to terms and finding the strength to get out of a severely difficult situation after Ricky Dugo financially decimates Ron and his mother for over $1 million